What's going on, fam? My name's Greeley. I'm here with Chazza for an exclusive interview about my new album, Yeah, the Grills. I'm not really doing any interviews with anyone else, just with the man Chaz. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, man can say whatever they want, it don't count until
Charlie says.
your boy ain't ever been number one in the country until
Charlie says.
that's right, they respect my opinion, yeah, they wait until
Charlie says.
GDAY 3. Why
Let's
what
go.
made you do number 3? Why not just name it something different? Why does it have to be the part 3?
Well, I guess when I wrote the first GDAY, you know, it was about a bit over 5 years ago. I think it's 6 years ago. Even though I said 5 years in the track, but it was just a time where Tony Abbott, like I know that you've probably learned who he is now,
Yeah.
but he was our prime minister at the time, and he's an absolute dog cunt, as you said. He was like closing down Indigenous communities. He was like fucking the minister for women's affairs and all sorts of shit that he had really no right being in. He's like, he's just, yeah, he's a bit of a dog cunt. And so he was like ruining the country, and I was like obsessed with it. And to the point where I was daily angry, you know, just losing my shit. And so, yeah, I wrote the first GDAY. And then, yeah, it was my most successful song at the time. Like, it just went off, you know, it really kind of got out there. Everyone could relate. And, yeah, and then when I wrote GDAY 2, I don't think I was intending to write GDAY 2, but I just wrote another massive verse, and I felt like it kind of fitted in with that. And so I released it as a GDAY, you know what I mean? And whereas this one, yeah, there's all sorts of fucked up shit going on in the government in Australia, so I felt I wanted to use that that title because it will bring people back to what I'm talking about and that same sort of frustration with the government.
So if you was to ever write a GDAY 4, it would probably be along the same lines.
Oh, definitely. I don't think I will do a GDAY 4. Like I was kind of saying to people that I'll save Corona for GDAY 4, but I think the trilogy is done, and the next time I like do talk about it, I'll start something new.
Okay, that's fair. And I noticed you also decided to go back to the original instrumental, but am I right in saying it's like updated and you like revamped it a bit?
Yeah. So for this new album, yeah, the Grills, I've been working with Larrikin. He's an old like battler. I actually battled him in 2009, and it was on Don't Flop in 2009.
Wow.
It happened in Tasmania, but it was on the Don't Flop channel. And yeah, we caught up last year during Complete's tour, and yeah, he just showed me some beats, and I was like, we reconnected, and I was like, let's do it. And so yeah, I got him to remake the original GDAY beat. I got him to remake the Now Never beat to do the sequel with that as well. And yeah, he's produced pretty much the whole album.
No need to introduce myself.
Hey.
Greeley. Yeah, I like how you flipped the original like starting 8 as well.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I didn't, you know, pretty sure everyone knows my face by now, whether they like me or not. But they've definitely seen my fucking big head.
These other rappers keep on acting to align with the trends and try not to vent, but again, now it's time to repent.
Is that so? I mean, that's a very small subject that you start off with, and then obviously the rest is more about politics and whatnot. But is that something that you feel? Do you feel like there's an oversaturation of MCs at the moment trying to do the same things, kind of?
Oh, 100%, bro. Like, it's, you know, there's been many times where, like, rappers that I know, and these are people that I like, will send me a video and it's them rapping about trapping in a car park with some blocky SUVs and their friends sitting in the SUVs in the back, and it's just like, there's so much going on to rap about. There's, like, you know, there's so much shit to rap about in the world, let alone fucking politics, you know. It's just, and like any trend, you know what I mean? Like, it's, people do what, you know, they think you're meant to do, what people want to see. And I'm pretty bored of it, to be honest. Like, you know, I like making all sorts of different music, and I can appreciate it. But when it comes to the, like, cookie cutter, like, cloning that happens in trends, and, you know, I guess, yeah, it definitely frustrates me. And because I still like, you know, I watch fucking 5 new videos from 5 new artists a day. Like, I'm always like keeping my ear to the ground and looking out there. And, you know, a lot of people send me their shit and ask me what I think, and I'm pretty honest with it. You know, I was like, bro, as soon as you know, got 8 bars into that shit, I just switched off because I've heard it a million times and a lot better. Because there are people that do that shit well, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, yeah. So I guess that, you know, all the rest of the rappers align with the trends and keep on acting. And now it's my time to sort of fucking speak my mind.
Yeah.
I started the original GDAY with I pick up the pen and I forcefully draw.
Yeah.
So this one was, you know, I pick up the pen and then I'm writing again to kind of, reinforce the sequel.
Yeah, that's it, to complete the trilogy. And do you kind of mention that to say, like, you guys are kind of doing the same things over again, but I've got something that I really want to talk about here? Is it kind of I say that to say this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Well, I feel, you know, there's a lot of heads out there that are rapping about real shit going on as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like any industry, you know, it's the kind of surface level shit that really blows up. You know, you look at whether it be, you know, hip hop, pop, or movies. You know, it's that sort of surface shit. You don't go into too much stuff where you could offend anyone. You know what I mean? Or not so much offend anyone, but just fit into that mold, I guess.
And I'd like to go on about that. So allegedly, that was your good friend Astro.
Yeah, it definitely was. So, yeah. Oh man, he did 2 months jail for it. There's no allegedly about it. It was Astro.
Well,
check it out, man. It was on the John Oliver show in America. Like, it went worldwide viral.
Brilliant.
And so the story with that is, man, like, Astro I've known for a long time. He's like an old school punk. He, you know, fucking wears denim with fucking, you know, has got punks tattooed on his knuckles. Most of the time when I see him, he was drunk and he'd headbutt me and go, "How you going, cunt?" Like, he's a proper street punk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he was my friend for a long time before I even put the first GDAY out. And in the first GDAY, I said, Tony Abbott needs a punch to the jaw. That was like a line that whenever I perform that song, the whole crowd would be like, Tony Abbott needs a punch to the jaw. Like, everyone resonated with that line because everyone hates him. And so probably about, would have been 3 or 4 years after I released the first GDAY, Tony Abbott was in Tasmania walking through Salamanca, which is like the local sort of drinking area. And Astro and I, one of our mutual friends, committed suicide a few days before. So, like, our whole circle of friends were really upset and we were doing it hard. And Astro was doing it hard, especially because, he was like best mates with our friend that passed away. And so he was drunk, you know, drowning his sorrows, very upset. And he hates politicians anyway. And then Tony Abbott walked by. So he got up, headbutted Tony Abbott, and kept walking. And so on that day, my little sister had a baby. And so I went to the hospital to see my niece, and, you know, pretty like stoked, you know, new member of the family and everything. I walked out the front of the hospital thinking I need to go have a drink and celebrate. And then another friend pulled up in front of me and just said, "Bro, Astro just headbutted Tony Abbott." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Down in Salamanca, dead set. We're going to hit the piss." And I was like, "Oh, it's a good day." You know, so we went up to the pub and we like partied on and fucking, and yeah, next day, all the news crews start rocking up to the pub and they interviewed Astro outside, and then he got charged and arrested, and he did like 2 months jail for it. And then when he went to jail, heaps of people online were like running him down. And I guess that's why I wrote the Free Astro song, because I felt like Tony Abbott's done all this fuck shit to society through being a politician, and he gets away with it, you know? Like, he's done some horrific shit. So, you know, when my mate, all he did was headbutt him, was getting called an absolute piece of shit. I was like, "Hey, but what about Tony Abbott?" You know, so I guess, yeah, that bar in this song was like a reflection back on that. Like, Tony Abbott got headbutted, and I'd like to extend appreciation for the reason that I try to commend, because at least there's repercussions for their crimes and intent, you know, because the politicians are bigger criminals than a lot of people I know, and they get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that must have been a crazy time for you, you know, obviously, you know, the downside of losing a friend, and then obviously you're going to see your niece, and then obviously you're hearing this bit on the news, and then you're with the boys, and it must have been a bit of a whirlwind of a moment kind of thing.
No, it definitely was, man. And then on like every one of my niece's birthday, I also like, oh, this is the day that Astro headbutted Tony Abbott, you know? Like,
something to remember by, yeah.
Exactly. Straight up.
National Headbutt Tony Abbott Day.
Yeah, well, I think it was Nut the Cunt Day, we called it.
Yes.
Because when the news were interviewing Astro, he said, you know, there's Tony Abbott, I'm going to nut the cunt.
Then they wonder why this country is so stuck in the rock. They treat it like rape in the parliament and cover it up. Fuck.
Is that about more allegedlys?
I think it's actually going to court.
Right.
I haven't been too on top of it, but yeah, it was not long before I wrote this song. There's a big situation going on with like a young, I'm not sure if she was secretary or I can't remember exactly, man. To be honest, I haven't been paying that much attention to it since I put this song out. And that's the thing, like, when I was younger, I used to be so obsessed with all the fuck shit going on in the government. And over the last few years, especially after going away for a bit, I just let go of it all, you know, and I just focused on enjoying life. But when I wrote this, I was like, oh, I've got to, you know, reabsorb some of that negative energy going on out there, and did some research, and get
it out your system and then kind of keep it moving kind of thing. Because it's draining to tune into the news and everything that's going on every day, especially when you can't even trust the news, you know. And I know that's referenced a little bit later in this song as well, but you know, it's very draining to try and keep up with it all, in my opinion, anyway.
I can't either these days, man. It's definitely something that, you know, like I still believe that you need to stand for something, and I still stand for what's right, but there's definitely, you know, you have to worry about yourself first, because if you're not looking after yourself, how are you going to fix anything in the world, let alone corrupt governments, you know what I mean? So
yeah, if you ain't got the energy to get up and get on with what you need to get on with, how you're going to have energy for everything else going on. And I think that's where some people get it wrong, where they have all the energy for everything else that's going on, but don't have the energy to kind of sort themselves out, kind of thing. But
exactly.
that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, I think that's a good point to touch on.
Rumors the country said he's turned it around, but then he goes on a holiday while the burns to the ground, and I still believe. So Scott Morrison is the current Prime Minister?
Yeah, and he's in with the Hillsong Church, and he claims he's a Christian and kind of plays that role, as most of our prime ministers always have. They always play the fucking Christian role. And Scott Morrison went. So not last year, the year before, Australia had some massive bushfires.
Yeah,
that like pretty much ripped through the whole east coast of Australia. And just as that was kicking in, Scott Morrison, our prime minister, went on a holiday to Hawaii with his family, and was literally like putting up pictures looking like fucking Peter Griffin in a Hawaiian shirt on a beach in Hawaii, while firemen in Australia are like, you know, nearly choking to death on smoke.
Yeah.
You know, like there's videos on the news of people going, "Help us," and this cunt was on the other side of the world. So yeah,
it shows where his priorities lie.
Indigenous communities are living in hell. They are kicking back on camera, benefiting themselves.
I like that ad-lib, it's like kind of, I'm just sick of it all. Is that kind of what you're representing right there?
100%. And yeah, that visiting Pell line, man. George Pell was like the highest cardinal in the Catholic Church in Australia, and Tony Abbott was best mates with him, and George Pell finally got arrested for a bunch of pedophile shit, and the one person that was going to see him in prison was Tony Abbott, our ex-prime minister. You know, so, and like literally there's footage of Tony Abbott saying, I think everyone should be friends with George Pell. Your life will get more interesting. You know, and then 2 years later, it comes out that this guy's just a fucking rampant Catholic pedo. You know, it's just,
Yeah, something not right about it, yeah.
No, not at all. And so Scott Morrison, one of his mates from Hillsong Church, just came out with a bunch of pedo charges, and it's just like, so all the prime ministers are all religious and really good friends with pedophiles, but, you know, claim to be their fucking, whatever. You know what I mean?
Cook the food for the country, but keep it hidden the cupboard. And the people get poorer, but still as big as the budget.
I know we're focused massively on like the lyrics and the subject matter, but like you're running a nice flow at the same time while spitting all of this at the same time. As I said, you still got your fundamentals there, like the delivery's on point, in the pocket the entire time, like. Yeah, man, you're still running it, you know what I'm saying?
For the victims affected by their pathetic religion, and then they think it's accepted and that their sins are forgiven.
And again.
There you go, and we just keep reeling it off, and you know, there's all of these things that you can list off, and more than what you've said in this song, yet how much of that is held accountable, you know? Yeah. But if your mate goes and does something stupid, all right, fair enough, you shouldn't go headbutting politicians, and yeah, he has to pay his price, etc., but why does he if you don't have to, you know? And that's the kind of thing why it's so backwards. Yes, I believe that people should have, you know, what's the word I'm thinking of? You should have something for your actions. You should be held accountable for your actions, basically.
Yeah, justice, I guess, you know?
Yeah, whatever it is, but, you know, it doesn't happen at a top level, and that's why people don't respect the justice system. Because why is it accountable for us, but not for the people who have created it or the people who pretend to run it?
Yeah, bro. We're going through like a real interesting thing in Australia at the moment. There's a comedian journalist called Friendly Geordies who like pretty much does like weekly uploads, and he's a very smart bloke, and he like picks apart like the corruption in the government, and he's been holding like certain politicians, you know, to being accountable, I guess. And yeah, this one politician who's the Deputy Premier of New South Wales has like called a terrorist squad on him and had one of his mates locked up, and is about to go to court. But it's like pretty much, yeah, it's very interesting because one of the most corrupt politicians who's doing heaps of like embezzling, you know, heaps of pork barreling and all this other stuff, who gets away with it completely. And, you know, there's comedians holding him accountable for it. And this guy's in with the Liberal government, and Rupert Murdoch, who I mentioned in the song as well, who's in charge of all the media. It's just so obvious to see what's happening right now, because the more that these guys get exposed for this shit, the more defensive they get, and the more they use the media to then clown the other guys to make, you know, it's just a fucking clusterfuck.
Serving the friends for Rupert Murdoch's agenda. Working with it, never turn to surrender, and have no shame at all for social circles that enter.
No shame.
No shame. And that's the thing is, out of all of this fuck shit, there's, you know, an apology never feels genuine. You know, it just feels like now certain people in positions of power are past no point of return.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Like, yeah, I think, you know, my favourite thing I said in that part was just like pushing for a treaty that never was written, because there was never a treaty between, you know, Aboriginal people of Australia and the invaders. Whereas, like, in New Zealand, there was a treaty, you know. Not saying it was a fair treaty, but we as Australia haven't got one. And, yeah, the Prime Minister can apologise all he likes, but until they, you know, work something out, we can't really move forward.
And a cold ending as well.
Dude, bro. Cold. Yeah, it's the same, like, of that last game of the first GDAY, you know, GDAY 1 ended in the same thing, and it's just like, and, you know, like you can rap about shit as much as you want, it doesn't really change anything, you know. The same with, like, one of my favourite comedians had a joke, and he's like, I've been stopping all the bad shit in my jokes for fucking 20 years. You reckon it works? You know what I mean? Like, and I guess, yeah, that last line was just like, yeah, we can talk about it as much as possible, but, you know, fucking, I guess we'll have to wait until they're dead, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For them to realise that what's it all fucking worth.
Yeah, no, but, you know, I rate this because, as you said, you had something to say, and you can hear that hunger as you're rapping it as well. You know that you mean the words that you're saying.
Like, you know, it's good to fucking get angry and get hungry, but at the same time, I like making shit for fun as well, you know? And I think with this new album, it's got a balance of both. Like, yeah, there's some real shit, there's some political shit, there's some life shit, and then there's some stuff just having fun as well.
Complete Now or Never 2. What made you do number 2 for this? Why number 2?
Similar sort of thing, like to the GDAY one. The first one that we did was around the same time that I wrote the first GDAY. I missioned over to Perth to get that song done, and I found the beat, and I really liked the build up in it, and so yeah, it took me like 3 months of living on the other side of the country just to get the first one done, and complete. And I filmed it the night that I flew out back to east. Sorry,
right.
So yeah, and complete. And I've been mates for 10 years now, and I met him when he was 18. And we've always, we related a lot to each other. He had this song, Dad, which I remember. I love that song because I kind of grew up without my dad, and it was the one thing that we had in common. And yeah, he's always stayed a really good friend to me, and I hope I've done the same to him. So I guess a big part of Now or Never, the original one, we actually had an original chorus written that was like, is it now or never, or is it never or now? I just want to make my friends and my relatives proud, that we wrote when we were like 21 or something like that, and we ended up calling the first song Now or Never, but there's not a bar in there that says Now or Never. It was based off that first half-assed chorus that we wrote years before. And so, yeah, I guess it was just to pay respect to the kind of legacy of our friendship, and also we've both been big about, using affirmations of reinforcing what we're doing. And Now or Never was a big affirmation song, it was all about, smashing it and going hard, I guess. So after I did the Wisdom album, which I was like really proud of, but at the same time, it was definitely attached to the experience when I wrote the album. And so this album, I wanted to get back to some older roots, you know what I mean, within my music. And I guess doing another sequel to GDAY and doing one to this was a way to kind of get back into my sort of steez, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so we went back to the same car park.
Same location.
Yeah.
Was there a reason why you went back to the same location?
Once again, just to pay kind of, that respect to the nostalgia.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, like, it's just a car park, and I was staying at Complete's house, and his new house is like an hour and a half away from this car park. We're on the way there, we're like, do we have to do this car park?
Yeah. Could it not be a different car park? Yeah.
But, and it was, once again, man, we filmed this the night before we flew out. So, both times it happened the exact same way.
Such a cinematic intro as well.
Just builds with the guitar. The guitar just adds that epicness, like
100%.
I was looking death in the face, so I gave it a kiss. My demons trained and keep on seeking for a dangerous twist.
I was looking death in the face, so I gave it a kiss. Just like there is some real powerful imagery in some of the lyrics in this track.
Thank you, bro. And so what we did, we flipped the order of the track from the first one. So I went first this time, and we flipped the multi. So like Complete's first bar from the first one was like, I forgot about my future and I pissed it away. And so my first bar was, I forgot about my past and I had made it to this. So pissed it away, made it to this. So we flipped the multi, flipped the order of the track, and then flipped the perspective. So like, if you watch them both back to back, so there's heaps of Easter eggs for like the people that, know the lyrics, they'll see that it's a full perspective flip as well.
Oh, that's cold. I didn't clock that. So yeah, that's that's another layer of just a lot of thoughtfulness put into that, a lot of thought and a lot of attention put into that.
We spent a month and a week working on this, like while I was doing the rest of the album. But we'd put a few days in every week just to kind of like make sure that we're both matching it, and yeah.
So did you write your parts completely separately, or would you write your part, send it to Complete would write his part and send it back to you?
I literally went to his house for a month and a week. Like, went to Perth, rocked up at his house, like, I ain't leaving until we get this done.
I was young with the hunger big as 100 ticks. Little did I know in the distance I'd hear a mumble hiss.
So that's him flipping what your first multi was on Now Never One. Okay.
So mine was like, my first one was like, did I ever really give enough? And then he comes in like, did I ever have enough to give?
Right.
So yeah, it's just flip of the multi, flip of the scheme.
Now I want someone to do a side-by-side comparison where they literally play each song like 4 bars at a time, like side by side. I think that could be quite interesting.
That's a good idea, man. I think a couple fans have made a compilation video of both of them now.
Yeah.
And put them up on YouTube.
Okay.
I'll stay and fight 'cause the day I die or I'm done with this. I wanna be as loved by the punters as much as Hunter is.
See, this is the ability Complete has for me. He can talk about such a dark subject matter and still make me screw my face in how hard he's going in. You know, it is something, and I think you both share that as well, where you're able to, you know, have a dark subject matter, but still able to get people hyped at the same time in a very, very strange way. It's a very strange dynamic that you have. What do you think that's down to? Like, is that delivery? Is that just the aggression? Like, what do you think that's down to?
I think delivery definitely's got something to do with it. Complete Soul, I remember when I met him when he was 18, man, and some of his tracks that he showed me was like, it blew my mind. He's always been really ahead of his time when it comes to putting his traumas and shit that's going on into his music and empower himself. Like he spent a few years in the psych ward when he was young. Like he's really struggled with a lot of mental health sort of shit. He wrote his first EP or his first mixtape in the psych ward, Panic Disorder. You know, so he was, you know, the embodiment of taking that and turning it into something positive, you know, and yeah, he's definitely inspired me over the years. When I wanted to do the first one, it was because I heard one of his songs. What's it called? The name escapes me, but it's one of his like songs where he really talks about his, you know, drinking and just the self-doubt and all that sort of shit. And so, you know, he inspired me to kind of do that sort of stuff as well, I guess, you know.
When I changed my perspective is when I've broken the chains and had to show what was great as soon as I opened the gates.
So from that whole situation of hitting that guy, you saying it changed your perspective on a few things?
Oh, it did massively, bro. Just on like, everything really. Like I read a really good book, or I read a lot of books, but they just helped me kind of change my attitude to my music and my business and everything like that. And since I got out, you know, I've had a pretty crazy journey of getting stuck all around the country during Corona and breaking my ankle and fucking still managing to do a tour with the fucking broken ankle. And the last 2 years have been the best out of my entire music career, you know. And I think like Complete said, when we were writing it, Complete was like, you got to talk about that shit. And I was like, all right. And so that was this verse, you know. And I think a big part of any sort of career, especially when it comes to being creative, it's all about perspective, you know. And there's a lot of people that are very successful that aren't happy, you know. And I know a lot of people that aren't successful but are happy, but think they need to be like the successful people to make them happy. And once I changed my perspective on what I thought I wanted out of it all, is when I kind of broken the chains of that dark feeling, you know.
I mean, you've taken a negative situation and you've spun so many positives out of it. And again, I guess that is perspective. Yeah. You know, it depends on how you see that situation, but you've just named some amazing things, you know, things that may have not happened if it weren't for that situation. So silver linings, I guess.
It was affecting my profession, so I hid it and wept, but then expressing my depression had the biggest effect.
So Complete talking about where he's come from to where he is now. Like, you know, I used to have to pay to get on the set, and now the set pays me, you know, and you know, I think it's beautiful to see a journey and to hear someone talk about that, you know. Yes, this is where I come from, and here is where I am now.
And that's it, bro. Like, you know, everything Complete said in these songs, from like, he was underage and he used to have to pay, like, there was a promoter in Perth that used to be like, you can pay to rap at the concert. And would get like all these kids that had never been on a stage paying him money just to let them rap, you know what I mean? And so Complete used to literally have to pay to go spit at a set and take his mum with him so he's allowed in the venue. And now he's bought a house off his music, you know what I mean? So like, for me, hearing that line as his friend is just like such a sense of pride, man, because especially in the last couple of years, his shit's really done well since he put out the Death Rat Rattle album.
Yeah.
I think he's really got a lot of the props he's deserved for a long time, and I'm hell proud of him.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, you know, there's so many things to talk about, and I would rather hear someone talk about that, you know, buying a house, you know what I mean, making something of themselves, you know, where I come from and where I am now. I'd rather hear that than the same old shit over and over again, you know.
Same, bro.
And so, yeah, 100%, I can respect them lyrics, 100%.
Retain the passion that you got to attain and be the person that you always really wanted to be.
So did you write this bit together when you're going literally
We pretty much wrote the whole thing together.
Okay, so the whole thing was
and
together.
we wrote this back to back, and it goes 4 4 2 2 1 1 1 1, and then 8 8 4 4 4 4.
Yeah. You got a whole mad structure, to it all. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And was it tricky as it started to speed up, or did you just, you know, you trust your own abilities and it was just this, like, no difference?
Yeah, I feel like the last 2 4s were the hardest, probably some of the hardest shit I've ever had to rap. It was like we were trying to do like triple time. We just wanted to keep speeding it up, you know. But it wasn't like him and I have both very similar sort of style of structure and syllables, and we've always kind of really related over our sort of flavor and taste in multis and schemes and patterns. So it wasn't too hard to kind of do the back-to-back and speed it up.
Not this shit, did a pimp, but the narco saves more sadie than pips and tomatoes and pricks that think that they live in Chicago.
I mean, I think the most difficult thing isn't actually rapping it. It must have been filming this video. You must have got dizzy just spinning around like that for like 5 minutes, like straight, or that 3-minute section.
To Uncle Sam, bro. Because like in the first Now or Never, our video guy with his girlfriend in the car, she was driving and they just drove in circles.
Right.
But for this one, Uncle Sam held the whole camera rig and sprinted around us. And we did like 3 takes of it, man. So he's carrying like, you know, a good 8 kilos.
And I was about to say,
rig.
it's not light equipment, and then he's trying to hold that steady as well. And then, I can imagine.
Man.
Shout out Uncle Sam every day. Shout out Uncle Sam.
You really thinking we come so far that we're nearly finished, but you're merely wishing this isn't even the start, bro. What?
Yeah, big energy for the ending.
Yeah, man. Really proud of that, bro.
Yeah, man.
Really proud of it.
Yeah, it's a dope track, and you know, it's good to see that everyone's received it so well. You seem to get so much positive feedback on this, from what I can see online, anyway.
Yeah, man. It's definitely like so many affirmations, and it's, you know, just because the thing is, man, since, you know, the last 5 years, Australian hip hop's changed a lot in different ways, you know what I mean? And so once again, like the trends, sort of stuff like that, you know, everyone will, like, I'm sure you've heard this term, barbecue rap, and you're going, oh, Aussie hip hop's just barbecue rap. But the thing is, like, it's a lot fucking bigger than that. And the thing is, like, Aussie hip hop has had a core following, and I know a lot of people that have lost a lot of faith in hip hop in this country because of the trends, you know what I mean? And there's no one really standing up for them. There's no one really standing up for barbecue rap, you know what I mean? And let's face it, there was only like 3 songs about barbecues in fucking 20 years anyway, and everyone just calls it barbecue rap, you know? Like, so I think Complete and I, because we both kind of come from that mold, you know, we pay respects to the OGs who are now in their 40s and 50s, because they were the guys we listened to. They were the guys that put us on shows, you know, and we kind of, wanted to kind of stand up for our traditional sort of hip-hop scene, I guess, you know what I mean?
And this is the thing, like, you can you know, you say about positive message, people get that confused with a positive feeling. Again, you can talk about positive things, positive affirmations, like you are in this track, but you're still going in hard, you know what I mean? It's still an aggressive kind of delivery. It's still that raw, gritty feeling about the track, but you know what I mean? What you're talking about, the subject matter is different, and you got to respect when, you know, when you hear someone say, oh yeah, this wants to get me fucked up, versus, nah, this makes me want to better myself, or, you know what I mean? Or at the very least, you know, this makes me feel better. You know what I mean? At the very least, and I guess to hear someone say, oh, your shit helps me. Your shit helps me better myself, you know? It's a different kind of feeling. And so, you got to respect it. Just because you're having a positive impact on people doesn't mean it has to sound all airy-fairy, you know?
You know, a lot of hip-hop comes with, like, expressing demons and a dark side, you know what I mean? Like I've found over the years, there's a lot of people that don't want to relate to that shit. They just want something to enable their sooking, really. You know what I mean? Like,
by the time that you lot are watching this is already out. But
yeah,
it's my first time reacting. I'm actually getting an early sneak preview of this, so yeah.
Drops in 2 days.
Let's get through it. Let's get through it. Yeah, it drops in 2 days at the time of recording. Yeah, I like this. So is this what we can expect to see from you? Is just walking around with a set of sticky notes saying "grow up"?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just listing off a bunch of scenarios and situations where people need to grow up. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah. You know why? Like, that is such a simple hook, but I can imagine at a show, I can imagine everyone screaming that
Can't
back.
wait to do it live, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be, and that would sound great on a big system as well with that bass line. That's gonna sound great. Fun video to match it as well.
Yeah, man.
Fun video. Who directed this one?
Cortex at Lahai Creative.
Yeah.
So he's a beast, man. Like, he recorded the whole album. He recorded Wisdom too. And yeah, everything that fella does, man. Whether his own music, making videos for others. And yeah, we made this video in a couple days. Just sitting around creative, because I've got another video coming out and it's got a bit of green screen in it.
Right.
And he kept making funny videos of me in random like places with the green screen, and making me like pop up behind mountains and shit, and kept trolling me with it. Yeah. So I was like, no, let's make something funny, bro. So we worked on this, you know. Okay,
because yeah, this seemed like a fun video to also film as well, I can imagine.
Definitely, bro. And we got all the Perth heads, like Bit of Belief is in this shot.
Okay.
So far we've had, was it like MC Urchin? He's a young fella. He's the one on the phone. He's a really dope rapper. He's a young guy who supported me at a gig over in Fremantle. Daisy, he's my mate with a beard. He's a dope rapper, man. Absolutely hilarious cunt. Cortex is in there. Greasy was in the first shot in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I pretty much got all the heads from over in Perth in the video.
Doesn't mean that you shouldn't have fun. There's a lot of grown-ups, just sooky sad cunts, and they say the same.
Did you stretch before you did that? You look like you nearly injured yourself.
I know, it's all in there speeding up the footage.
Oh wait, I'm gonna pull it back one more time. Is that your best Chazza impression?
It's a pretty good one.
You know what?
I know. We still have to have a slight drop battle.
I was just about to say, so now we're creating our own little Olympics now. All right, so we got to have a slut drop competition from about like 2 years ago. You got called out on that one. I know you've been ducking me since, but that's all right. It's fine. I understand.
Corona travel restrictions. Come on.
All right. So don't wait. We're going to be live on stage one day and someone's going to be like, what about the slut drop competition?
It's going to happen at the reunion too.
Yeah, it's got to happen.
It eventually happens.
100% gotta happen.
Oh, maybe a little bit of pudding.
That's good. I like that. Just a little bit of pudding.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe a little bit of pudding.
Who was that in that clip?
So it's Auntie Donna. They're like the comedy crew of 3 fellas from Melbourne.
Right.
But they do a lot of kind of like hip hop style live performances where they write like silly, funny songs and go back and forth. And because I've done a fair bit of stand up and I got to open up for them. And when I was in hospital with the broken ankle, like one of their skits is about pud, Christmas pud. And I was high on morphine in hospital, going on about pud on my social media, and started a bit of a running joke with it, So, and it all came from their skit. So yeah, there's a line in the song kind of in reference to the pud and chucking their skit just in the video. It's like a shout out to them,
Yeah, a little bit of homage for the heads who know. Has Mini Grill's got a name yet?
Mini Grills will do.
Mini Grills looks angry.
Yeah.
And of course, you gotta have complete eating the noodles. You couldn't have
Of
it any
course,
other
of
way. You
course.
couldn't have it any other way.
Greeley said, grow up. Tell them Greeley said, grow up. I won't
And I've got to say, the green screen's pretty clean on that as well. Like, the editing looks pretty good. Like, I've got to say, look.
Cortex is doing it,
Yeah,
man. He's, you know, like, yeah, he's doing a really good job. And we're just like, we did most of this video in his house. Like, he's about to have a baby daughter, so we bought a cot. And he's like, oh, how about we go get a baby doll from the salvos and we'll put it in the cot, and then we'll go in the garage and use a green screen. We'll put your head on the doll. And I was like, let's do it, you know. So, you know, the video didn't cost us much because we just were really creative with what we already had.
100%. And you know what? I think that makes the video more unique. I think that they're the kind of better videos sometimes. Yes, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
If you have a big budget video with all the camera equipment and all of the tech, don't get me wrong, it can look amazing. There's no denying that. But I appreciate videos like this that are just fun. You know what I'm saying? And you get creative with how you go about it. You know, one of my favorite videos of all time is Scrub's video for Scumbag. That video probably barely cost them anything. They all dressed up and had a piss up, you know what I mean? But that's still one of my favorite videos, you know? And it probably cost them very little to make that. So there's videos like that I really do appreciate, 100%. Yeah, I like that. That is a fun song. That's another fun one, man. I like that, man. I like that, definitely. And shout out to everyone who took part in that video as well.
Yeah, man. Fucking couldn't have done it without him. And yeah, it's just, you know, yeah, as you said, man, like, for me, the best shit is like, yeah, just having fun and making something happen. And if you can do it for the least money possible, like my new video with Denny, pictures, we managed to pull that all off for $400. And we had like a whole shot with a white wall. We had like an amazing cameraman. We got styled out for the day by this guy, all because, you know, certain things happened. We managed to pull it off for fuck all. And there's nothing better than that, you know, just being creative and using, you know, basic networking skills, being polite, and just also finding people that are excited to make shit happen.
100%. And as you say, they make the better videos. They make them more unique in a lot of ways. So, no, 100%, man. I rate it. 100%. So yeah, I'm excited for this album now. What else can you tell us about the upcoming album?
Features are crazy. I got like Complete, obviously. I've got Wombat. I've got Nerve. I've got like heaps of old heads that I like rapped with when I was young that have never really put any music out. So old friends. I've got my mate Sporadic. I've got my mate Egg. I've got Dundee on there. Another mate Scorps, and he kind of grew up with Dundee and I. So we got him on the track with him. There's heaps. So I've got Scrub on there. I've got Birdbrain on there. I've got Misk. I've got Danny's cousin Roller. He's like making a lot of noise right now. He's in Adelaide. So I got him on the album. Who else? Fuck. Other people are going to hate me for not shouting them out. Got Larrikin and Manners. Because Larrikin raps as well. So I've got Larrikin doing a verse on a track with Manners. Yeah, so heaps of features. All the beats are like a level up from the last album. Yeah, and I guess there's definitely more of a range in here of me kind of flexing all the different sort of skills, you know what I mean? I've got some more deep shit. I'm going to be dropping another video before the album comes out that's like about heaps of people that have passed away in my life. I've got a line in there about mine and Astro's friend I was telling you about, you know, it's just that sort of stuff. But just trying to tick all the boxes with it and, yeah, release it all, you know, reasonably professionally. As well, like I haven't dropped a track with Wombat in a few years, and our track is called Island Fever, and it's just like about the, you know, the fucking island fever you get in Tassie, you know what I mean? So I'm really stoked to be dropping that one. And this is one I'm hoping I can get back to Tassie next week and smash out some videos for the clubs down there. I've got Stretch 1 on the album as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's exciting, man. And it's going to drop on all platforms October 22nd. I'm selling pre-order packs that I'll be posting out 2 weeks before the album. So if you buy a physical pre-order pack, you get to hear the actual album 2 weeks before it gets released on all platforms. Bit of a, you know, a reward for all the people that are supporting me. And yeah, I'm just excited and just hoping that, yeah, we can get back to Tassie in time for it all to unfold and do another, like, because while Corona's going on, it's so hard to book shows interstate. Like, we've had a bunch of shows get cancelled, and that's why we're stuck in Newcastle now. We were meant to go to Adelaide and then back to Tassie. But the good thing is in Tassie, like I can do, even though it's a small island, I can do a full tour around that island. Don't have to get on a plane once. We've got a sound guy that just bought a stage truck, so like a truck with a stage on it, so we can just go do gigs in paddocks and do what we want. You know what I mean? And regardless of the world ending, we'll be right.
Yeah, it should be all set, bro.
I just want to shout out to Denny. She's been holding me down through all this time, and she's got her own EP dropping on September 10th.
Yeah.
We just dropped a video clip, a collaboration pictures for our song on her EP, and the next video clip I'm dropping after Grow Up is our collaboration for my album. So literally, since I dropped GDAY 3, we've been dropping a video clip each week by week, and we will continue to do so pretty much right up to October.
Yep. And so most of those will be out by now, by the time that this is out.
Like 2 days into when we were at Perth, I slept in and I woke up and Denny had written like a whole grime track.
Oh,
and I was like, okay.
I see you.
I see you. So, keep an eye out for Unauthorized, man. It's Denny on some B shit. Getting raw.
I like that, man. Gotta respect that.
Yeah.
Grill's been a pleasure.
No, always, Chaz. Thanks heaps for having me, bro. And yeah, big shout outs to you, man, and your endless efforts for what you do for our scene, bro. Like, you've been consistent for fucking 4 years plus now, and yeah, it's quite remarkable, bro. I really, just on behalf of Australian hip hop, want to thank you, man, because yeah, there's a couple guys in Australia that have tried to do what you do, but no one's ever even come close, you know. And yeah, it's even just that basic thing, like I share, all your reviews on my social platforms, and people hit me up like, it must feel good to have someone in a different country doing that, and I'm sure you're used to it by now, as I am. We've become kind of good friends without ever meeting each other in person. But yeah, just props where props are due, bro. You're a fucking good cunt, and yeah, I wish you all the best.
Unless you don't speak until, that's right, to respect my opinion, yeah, to wait until, but unless you don't speak until